Welcome to the month of April. I know we're already into it, but I want to discuss this time, this season, as a time of transition. I believe so many of us are going through transition. Transitions can be scary, they can be chaotic, they can take you down, yet they can also be an exhilarating time that makes you realize who you really are. And it makes you stand stronger and more courageous in your soul's betterment of where you're going. Okay? This is what happened to me. All of those things happened to me. So I want to explain how I'm using spiritual personality typing that takes me through decision making processes. It not only makes me understand myself better, but the this method that I'm using, this method I want to introduce to you so you can use it. So you can stay on your path of self-betterment, of transformation, of self-awareness, of self-discovery. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. I was given this gift from divine intelligence for this time here on earth. So I'm here to share these messages with you. So that's what I want to do today. So, as I said, this is a time of great transition for many people, not only for you individually, but for the planet and for the collective. And we can see it, right? We can see everything, how it's all, there's a lot of chaos. But remember, also, in chaos comes new beginnings. So you have to remember that. And that's part of this transition that many of us fear. But if we go in and use the tools that I'm speaking of, that divine spark within, where the stillness of you resides, where you can get those messages from divine intelligence, that's perfect. That's perfect for your soul's journey here on earth. That's when the chaos goes, yep, push away from the chaos, go within. You're in stillness. The chaos is still going on. You don't need to be in it. You need to be within yourself and seeing where your path is in all of it. So this is what I want to talk about. I want to talk about transition, how to make better decisions for yourself, how to start realizing that you are a soul. You're a higher conscious soul. This suit that we're wearing is beautiful. Our bodies are beautiful. And they're here as a tool, just as our personalities are, for the soul to express itself, to give these beautiful divine messages form in our material world, in our form-based world, in the physical world. That it all comes from within, from that stillness within. So let me explain this to you and what happened to me. So you can start using this philosophy, this thought theory, that you are a soul being. And your higher consciousness uses your personality type in a beautiful way for self-expression. You're not your personality type, okay? You are not that. And there's so many reasons for that. I can't go into all of it here. So you might want to pick up the book. I wrote the book probably first. I probably did things backwards because it's very typical for an ENTP. But there's a lot of information in the book that tells you how to do all this, right? But let's start here from my experiences to help so I can share this. You can say, oh, this might be happening to me. I can apply this in my life. It's a useful message for you, something that you can use and apply instantly. So I had an opportunity to work with a very big, well recognized brand. And I was super excited, right? Um, and it had to do with wellness, and it was like, yes, this is what I'm speaking of. And it felt it, to be honest with you, it felt, I'm looking for the right word. It felt easy, but that's probably not the right word, but it felt um, normal. That's not the right word either. I'll think of it. But it was with ease, right? But not the ease that you're thinking of. It wasn't a flow ease, right? It was assumed, excuse me, that's the word I was looking for. It was my assumed identity from the physical world that I had built a career out of, right? So when I say it's easy, it's because I can just go to that, and I don't have to think, because I've assumed that identity and I don't think about it. Most of us don't. But that's not where I'm headed. That's the Nina that was sitting over here. The Nina that I am now is moving away from that into a different life path. I'm choosing to move into a different life path. So my decisions need to be different, right, to support that life path. Because if I'm using decisions from this world to try to bring it into this world, it's not going to work. They're going to fight each other. So when I was offered this opportunity, like, yes, it's going to be so good. And I'm going to show you how my personality type, because it influences and impacts you from a very deep perspective. Like I said, I'm an ENTP. So within a functional stack, and if you're not familiar with personality typing, Myers-Briggs personality typing, a functional stack is very simply put for this discussion. It's just the way, the hierarchy in which you use your traits. So I was using my lowest trait, right? That opposes my most primary trait. So I was using what's called SI, introverted sensing. And what that is that's a beautiful trait. It's all about history and tradition, and it actually thinks from those perspectives. It thinks from past experiences, past life experiences, past collective experiences, past childhood experiences, all those things, right? It thinks from those timelines. Yet, my primary trait, and from a spiritual personality typing point of view, POV, my primary trait, or as I call it, my North Star, is very futuristic. It thinks of possibilities, novelties, opportunities, new experiences, new ways of doing things, looking at what is and saying there's a better way and going that way with it. Hence why I'm doing spiritual personality typing, kind of fits, right? But what I was doing is I was going back to an old way of thinking, oh, this is a big brand. This will be so good for me. And it might not. I had to stop myself because I didn't pause right away. And it was kind of a rush situation, which I now don't do. I now pause. Before, when I was in the world of hustle and PR and all of that busyness, it was like you're making decisions. Yeah, especially in the world of PR, because a headline's a headline. It's the headline doesn't wait until tomorrow. It's today, right? So I had thought in those terms, which is good because for me, because that, remember that North Star trait, it likes to think opportunities, possibilities. It's good at that. Yet it leaves behind other traits, my thinking trait, which is my secondary trait, introverted thinking, which anytime something's introverted, it's reflective. It wants to ponder. It wants to see beyond what's right in your face. So I was all excited. Yes, I'm going to do this. And then things started to crumble, right? Oh, we don't really understand what you're doing, which I get it because it's brand new. How could you understand? I'm doing something that's very trailblazing, it's very pioneering. Not many people know what spiritual personality typing is. If you're listening to this, I want you to understand that. So as things kind of started to go, what's the word I was thinking? It started to get um hiccupy. I started getting hiccups. I'm like, okay. So then I had to stop and pause. And I had to go within. This is what I teach. And I was ignoring what I teach because I was so familiar with being in that world. It just seemed easy. It's like, okay, let's just do that without thinking. That's not who I want to be anymore. That's not the timeline I'm now on. I want to think always for higher consciousness, for betterment of all, not just for myself, not just for the money, not just what it would do for me. What can I do for others? How can I serve others while serving me in the process and bringing this goodness in a full circle? So I started thinking, I'm like, this might not work for me. And I had to go inside, and thank God I have friends I can call them like, okay, this. And they're like laughing. They're Nina, you teach this. I'm like, I know. So I'm learning this lesson, right? And I'm getting messages from divine intelligence saying to me, Nina, if you're teaching people how to be true to themselves, are you in this moment being true to yourself? And the answer was no. So I turned down publicity, exposure, getting in front of a lot of new people because I wasn't being true to myself. And if I would have taken that opportunity, well, it may have worked in the beginning, but down the road, is it best going to serve me? No, it will not. I know that. Why I know that is because I went in to that divine spark within me, into the stillness, and I listened to the messages that were coming from within. I had to question myself. Who are you doing this for? Is this an ego grab? Which in the beginning, I'm guilty. It was. Wow, it'd be good to have all this exposure and be connected to this brand. Whoa, I mean, I'd be the one. Everybody would know me. You know, it's not what I'm here for now. So this took a couple of weeks. I mean, I'm giving this to you in a snapshot, right? But it took a couple of weeks. But the outcome was so empowering because I'm learning the depth and the breadth of what I want to take and how I want to take this message to the world, this true self message. And you have a different message you need to share with the world. It's within you. You don't need a guru, you don't need all that stuff. I'm just saying, yeah, you might need to talk to somebody, like that's why I mentor people to get some clarity around this stuff. You might need to talk it out like I needed to talk it out. And that's okay. But you really do hold all the answers you need within you. They're within you. When you start going out for answers and using those answers as your own without questioning that inner self, without it telling you the best course for you, then you start living somebody else's narrative. It's not aligned with you. So it's going to create disruption. It's going to create that low home anxiety that I lived with for decades because I kept on listening to everybody else and not trusting myself. Right? And it's interesting now, too, that many of us don't do this. I mean, probably introverts do this more so than extroverts. I'm not generalizing. I'm just saying, just by the nature of that introverted trait, that introverted trait is more reflective. It's a little bit slower to respond. It's inward focused. So just by the nature of that trait, there's a tendency to slow down a response. But for extroverts, I'm an extrovert by a little teeny margin, but I am an extrovert, and I tend to just go, okay, let's go. And plus, my primary trait, that extroverted intuition, wants to go. Man, they want new. It's spontaneous. There's no planning. Let's just go. But that hasn't served me. And if I'm on this path for betterment, I have to use all of my traits to serve me on this new path, because that inward scent, that inward soul needs all of those traits. And if you want to, if this helps you think of this stillness within, that divine spark within, that soul or higher consciousness, if you want to think of it as a sixth sense, your sixth sense, you can think of it that way too, right? Because that's the sense, because all thoughts, everything, they're all things. This sixth sense, or that inner self, that inner spark within, starts as a feeling. And as you think about it, you start creating it to become a thing. And that thing becomes a thought form that you express in your personal reality. That's just how that works. It doesn't work the opposite. Because if you, and this is, I lived my life for many years like this, and it hasn't been a bad life, right? But it hasn't been meaningful or fulfilling. But if you think that you can go from this logical place, something that's human created, and put it into a spiritual realm, there's no way. Because spiritual is unlimited, expansive, without end. The human thought form is none of that. It's limited. It's within. So, it is, I am being contrarian with this, and you have to flip your idea of personality typing. You need to think of it as spiritual personality typing, because the spirit is always going to lead your logical mind. That sixth sense is sovereign over the five senses. So in my transition point, yes, there was pain, there was anxiety, because I was like, no, I need to do this. I know, because this is what I know from a deep level. I mean, I've been doing this for decades, right? I mean, my hair's gray, so you can say, I've been here for a moment, right? So, but this is what happens because you kind of rely on what you know, when a lot of times that's an assumed identity. You're assuming without questioning that it's the right way. And lots of times it is not the right way. In fact, 99% of the times it's not the right way until you get your soul involved, until you get that higher consciousness, sixth sense. I love to call it the divine spark within. Until you get that aspect of you involved in everything you do, you will always be struggling. So it is a mind shift. And obviously, I'm working on it every day. I just went through a big thing that I had to realize that, oh, I'm going backwards again. Uh-oh. You know, the good news is I didn't get so far down the road with it that it became this huge disaster, because that's Nina's modus operandi. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm just going to do it and just go all the way down the road. And then I'm like, oh, crap, how did I get here, right? Do you ever ask yourself that question? Well, how did I get here? Well, it starts over here because you didn't go in here. I've done it all my life. That's why I'm trying to share these messages with you, share these ideas with you, so you don't get all the way down the road and go, how the hell did I get here? I don't want to be here. Why do I keep on going this way? Why do I keep on going in this direction? These are the times of great transition. Great transition. So you need to really rely and trust yourself. Trust that that sixth sense, your higher consciousness, your soul self, your heart center, I don't care what you call it, is is perfect, is in charge, will lead you perfectly down the right road for you. All of our roads are different. All of them are different. But that aspect of you will always have your back, will always take you in the right direction, will always support you, will never lie to you. And you can trust what it says. Always. Always. It's hard to do that in the human world, the human thought world. Because even though you trust somebody, it's still through their lens. It's still through their life experiences. And while they might have your best interest at heart, they're not living you. That soul that's in you, that eternal being that walks with you from the moment you're born to the moment you leave this earth, is never separated from you. This person, on the other hand, knows what? Knows what they're here for, hopefully, and is projecting their thoughts based on their life experiences, which are totally different from yours. So that's what I'm saying. You have to trust yourself. You have to get into this spirit being within you. It answers a lot of questions, and it will help you through your transitions. It will help you make the right decisions for where you're going. No one else can do that except for you. So I wanted to come on today and share this lesson with you to show you that the distractions of the shiny, bigger, what we think is bigger and better, and more exposure and more this and that, might not be right for you. Wasn't right for me. It's not where I'm headed. I'm not headed to that world anymore. I'm headed in a different place. It's totally different. And if I didn't stop and take a pause and go in and trust what I was being told, I would have been the, how'd I get here, Nina, again. And things are moving too fast for that in this day and age. We really can't. It's never, like, you never make a bad decision. I'm not saying that, because every decision is about learning. Like, I learned something so great. I created outlines that I needed for speaking. It was perfect. I created all this stuff that I'm still going to use. I'm just not going to use it for this right this second. But obviously, that's coming for me. It's just coming in a bigger, better way that's for me, for where I'm headed, for my path. That's what I want for you. I want you to make decisions that are for your long-term betterment, for your path, for your individuality, for your meaningful purpose and passion. Because when you're healthy and you're here to, you'll understand that you're here to serve the collective. We're all here to serve one another, not just ourselves. Right? And it's not always about making money. It's about what's better for you. I mean, you could have how many times we heard the story, people are multimillionaires and they just aren't happy. They're sick. Life is dull for them. I don't want that for you. I want you to get up and feel alive about yourself and just feel so good about who you are. And trust yourself. It is a process. I know. That's why I'm sharing you. I just went through the process myself. I think I know, but I don't. Because every life experience is here to teach me. Teach me more and more and more. I won't know it all until the day I leave the planet, and I still won't know it all. If you have any questions, DM me, please. If you want to share this, beautiful. That'd be beautiful. Thank you. Please like, subscribe. You know all the little things you do on YouTube. And if you want to learn more, a very inexpensive way is to pick up my book, Unpack Your Personality, Let Your Inner Guide Be Your Travel Guide. This book is all about traveling intentionally. So when you take vacations, you take a moment, you pause before you get in all that planning and where am I going and all that stuff. What is it that I want to learn about myself? Is there something I want to learn, or is there something I want to experience? Because we learn through experiences. So put that first and foremost instead of keeping up with the Joneses, right? All the consumerism isn't necessarily as important as your intentions and what you want to learn and how you show up. Are you going to show up as a conscious, sustainable traveler? Or are you going to show up as a consumptive traveler, just like me, 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 me? And then how will you leave in that place? How will you leave in a place better than you found it if you're showing up like that? I guarantee you're not. I've been in the travel industry for decades, and it's not pretty to watch. So there is a better way to travel, traveling intentionally. And the book not only talks about travel, like best places to stay, eat, play, talks about how you show up from a romantic perspective, how you show up on a parenting perspective, but it also teaches you about yourself, your beautiful benefits that you give to travel experiences, and how you'll be triggered on vacation. So it's all there. It's a great start. It's a great beginning learning experience for spiritual personality typing. I hope you found this message enjoyable. I'm going to keep on teaching whether I'm with a big brand or not, because this is what I want to do. This is what I'm here for. I thank you for being here so much. If you're in transition and you just need a little bit of help, you just need to speak, you need to talk with someone, you need to talk through it, you need to identify your personality type, I offer session work. Um, you just go on to my Calendly page. Everything's on my website. I'd love to help you through your transition. Not as your guru, not as your guru. Here and guide you as a mentor. All for now. Nina's Apollo, spiritual personality typing.